We're past the midpoint of the year. Half the season proper in the rear-view mirror. Again, Brooks. Now Kohler. Dummies, runs. He's strong apart from being fast, but he's lost the ball over the line.
Well, that was incredible.
Corey Waddell played it to Croker. Tavanga playing lock. Cherry Evans linking in with Kohler. Here's Garrick. Oh, that was a slick in and away move. Back on the inside to Kohler. And Manly have struck from right up on the halfway line. They score long-range tries better than any team in the comp. 11 metres away. Croker to Brown. Brown to Brooks. Brooks to Ben Trebojevic. Left one behind. Oh, if he didn't slip over there, he was going to make a dash for the try line. Quick play the ball. Here's Sipley over the top of them. Oh, that's too fundamental. That's a try to top Sipley, and the second for Manly. Brown tackled inside the 10-metre line. Cherry Evans to Brooks, who folded back around the back. It comes across to Kohler. He bounces out of tackles. He's still going. Kohler! Oh! Wow, he got so close. Cherry Evans to Olakau'atu, one-on-one. He beat Matt Croker. He beats them all and scores another one. Oh, the big unit's flying. That's some momentum up behind that carry. Brayley across the good hands. Here's a chance. Kai Pearce-Paul. Give it to Fletcher. Oh, good tackle. He nearly got him to Lau, but he broke out of it.
Yes.
There we go.
Cameron, they're listening to you.
Now Fletcher Hardy sprinting through. He takes the catch. He falls over and gets up and crawls there. The Knights are back.
Oh, the flying mullet from Warren. They are back in a big way, aren't they? And all through just effort and a bit of smarts. Up in the commentary box, when that kick went up, we thought, well, there's not much doing here. But Fletcher Hunt.
Here's Marju down the left-hand wing, breaking tackles. Ponga there, desperate stuff by Olakau'atu. He keeps it alive for Cogger. Back to Marju. Marju stepping. Someone make a tackle. Eventually Olakau'atu. They've turned into the entertainers. Ponga now. Across to Fletcher Sharp. It's the last play. Ball to Gagai. Gagai to Schiller. Newcastle get a third try. Can you believe what's happened here? It's 16 each.
Oh, where are you going? Where was he going?
Oh, McEwen came sprinting out. But Falalo with a dummy and a run. He's into the backfield. Cherry Evans is backing up. Fletcher Sharp versus Cherry Evans. There's only ever going to be one winner there.
No, he was thinking about kicking then, Cherry Evans. We've seen him at Origin level do that. They come left, they got him shot to pieces.
Brooks now across to Talau. Newcastle have done well to regather. Oh, Talau's gone through the middle.
He was listening to Gal bagging wingers.
Ponga now. Guy Pearce-Paul tries to hold it. He's amazing. He's got that wingspan and can pass out of nothing. Here's Schiller. Schiller! Fletcher Sharp! They've done it! We're about to be locked up at 22 each. Gagai. He's played 300 games and he's nailed it. Behind the 40. The Knights defenders sprint. He changes. He goes to Brooks. Brooks from the 40. It's not a bad kick. It's out to the right. Time off. We're going overtime. Field goal shot. Down the short side. Ponga sends it up in the air. We know Hunt's a great leaper. He taps it back. Oh! It's good. The Knights have won!
No way!
Newcastle have saved their season in the most spectacular fashion.
Fletcher Hunt. And Ponga's first try of the year. No way. First try of the year.
They have turned it right around and won their 5th game of the year, and dare I say it, they have kept their season alive.
Adam, the team's booed off by some parts of the crowd at half time and then roared off at full time. How can you summarise that game and the feelings and the result?
Do you want me to answer the booing part or the...
Or whatever.
It's disappointing. Yeah, it's really disappointing to people to even, I know the scoreline's not what they want, but to boo the effort that went into that first half from a really young team. The people that booed don't know anything about rugby league. They're probably the ones that cheered at the end too. That disappoints me that they do that, because although the first half we defended our hearts out. You've got to remember there's a really, really young footy team there against a very good opposition, and you saw what they did last week to a pretty full-strength Brisbane team. So they've got some dangerous players there. So our guys, I thought we were excellent in the first half, and we made a few errors leading into half-time, which you know, gassed us a little bit, which led to the last try. I thought we could have been going into the sheds at 12-0 down, but tremendous effort in the second half. I think we only made the 2 errors, and there was plenty of ball movement. And you know, again with the first half, I know with the booing and that, I know people are disappointed with us, but trying their backsides off. We don't have a front rower available like a play 1 or a play 2 front rower, and to lose Frizz straight away, booing's a bit harsh.
Given that, then you're so low on troops and you're down 16-0. Where does that rate in terms of wins?
It's up there with one of the best wins I've been involved in here. You know, to have those kids out there, you know, I know there's only the one debutant tonight, but there's guys there with less than 5 or 6 games. There's a heap of them. And, you know, Jermaine and Elijah, they're playing SG ball last year. It was... Yeah, I'm a bit hurt by the booing. I get, you know, we don't want to let anyone down, and people can... I didn't think I'd see that, you know. I've seen bigger losses here over the years, and I'm not sure that they're booed, but anyway.
What about for you, Caleb? I know it's only one win, but yeah, where does that bring for you in terms of the games you've played here?
I think if you take everything into consideration, yeah, like young squad, debutant, fair bit of fight in that second half, and just a fair bit of belief and trust in our processes. We tweaked a couple of things after half time that obviously worked, but yeah, I mean, for a younger squad and the boys that were playing, it's been a tough season. They probably haven't felt this feeling too much, so it's nice for them, you know.
How proud are you of those young guys, I mean, as captain?
Yeah, definitely. I see the work they put in. Like I said, there's been some tough lessons this year, but, you know, it's good for them to feel this feeling. You know, footy is fun and it is joyful at times, but again, I see how hard they work, you know, and so we've got to just keep working hard, you know, keep our heads down and keep working hard.
When did you feel that the tide had turned in that second half? Was there a moment, or one of the tries in particular, that the momentum had swung and you actually believed you guys could get back and win it?
I felt like not the whole half, but I didn't feel we were under as much pressure in that second half. I know the first half we defended a fair bit, maybe because of due to errors and where we turned the ball over, but just felt like in the second half we were in the game a lot more, and we stuck to our processes, and you know, with a bit of, you know, Gags had a good game. Yeah, with a bit of flair we ended up getting over them.
James Shill must be a pretty mentally tough sort of bloke to sort of come back from those errors that he made and come up with those big plays in the second half. Yeah,
I was a little bit worried there. He was looking at the ground a little bit, and half time we sort of prepped him up. We made a change. We switched sides and got some early ball out there to Gags, which, you know, brought Shill into the game. He came up with a great try there in the corner. So, but he's been giving us some moments in games there where it just looks like nothing's happening and he just busts out of a tackle. But yeah, he should be really proud of himself too. Like, footy's not always going to be perfect, and you're going to have days like, you know, you come up with a couple of errors, but it's how we respond, and that's all we've spoken about, is how we respond after last week, how we handle this adversity. This is probably the hardest time that I've been involved in the club in terms of injuries and suspensions. Like, it's hard. But how we react, how we respond, how we, a bit like Jimmy there, how he reacts and responds, that'll see us through. So it's a good lesson for him and us.
Good to see, obviously, Frizz on the bench watching the rest of the game after that pretty serious head knock. How's he kind of, I'm assuming you've only had a brief conversation with him, but how's he shaping up?
Yeah, I checked him at half-time and he was good. He was a little bit distraught thinking that he'd let us down with the interchanges. He knew that it was going to put a lot of stress on the minutes and that, but he can't help the HIA. So he's in good spirits in there now. He's up and about and he's happy for the boys to get the win.
And some of the other players, obviously, once he exited the field, obviously Phoenix getting more involved in sort of defence, and Jack Colgar had a massive night kind of going toe-to-toe with Oluwatu, which the size of difference of them is amazing enough. What can you say about their efforts?
The tackle that Cog's come up with is sensational. It's a big moment in the game. But a lot of that ball movement that we're talking about in the second half, Jack played a big part in that. I thought he was great. The spine really stood up. The halves, Caleb was in everything, and then you're putting Phoenix in amongst all of that. I thought they were great, but yeah, special mention there. He's definitely fighting out of his weight class, isn't he, when he's coming up against him? But mate, tremendous tackle on the try line. Yeah.
Can you talk us through the play with Fletcher at the end that created the winning try? Was that something you threw up out of the blue, or was it something you planned and worked on at training?
I did actually. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. I sort of shanked it. But he's a pretty athletic kid. I know he's only had a couple of games in NRL, but he's pretty handy in the air, and he just competes on everything. I think, like a lot of the young boys, they've got talent and they just compete. So we'll take it. We'll go a little bit lucky.
Just on that, Adam, you've switched him. Here's the other part of that half-time switch you've made. He's gone to left centre and come up with a try and essentially try assist as well. So a bad effort by Fletcher at 19.
Exactly. We know that he goes and competes on the high ball, so we've really pushed that recently. We haven't done it a lot in the past. But he's a competitor. I think someone wrote, I don't know who it was during the week, you have a good game and he comes up with about 4 or 5 errors, but it's always going after the game. That's what we love about him. And I don't mind young blokes are going to make blues from time to time, but if it's having a go, then, which is all he is. So if anyone's going to pluck, well, his words, not mine, a shanked kick and make something of it, it was going to be Fletcher Hunt. Or his sidekick, Fletcher Sharp. He's pretty good at that stuff too.
Yeah, obviously disappointed with the result. I think we did enough to win the game, but unfortunately, they competed really hard in the second half and took advantage of some of the kick contests. I think they certainly won the last plays in that second half, and they got some rewards off the back of that. So, look, there's a ton of spirit from our guys, but there's a heap of spirit from the Knights, and unfortunately we weren't good enough in that second half to defend our lead. So that's really disappointing.
Daly, what did you notice was the difference in that second half?
I think Sieb summed it up pretty well there. There's obviously a lot of execution things that we can look at as well, but I think as Sieb's mentioned, they played a really good style of footy that second half, and then as I sort of mentioned, then our errors compounded that as well. So it just built momentum for them, and they just kept rolling.
There were some moments where positivity. Tommy's try was very creative, quite a strong run. What do you think were the positives from the game that you'll try and kind of take through to next round?
I think, like what Sieb said, there's certainly a lot of effort. You only look at the last sort of month, we've gone, win-loss. Our losses have been sort of, I feel like, pretty close, and it's not as if we're not trying, but we're just struggling to find that weekly consistency. So we've got a couple of days to freshen up as a side. So I think we'll come back very hungry for a win next weekend after tonight's result.
Anthony, I'm not sure if you've had time to sort of have a chat with them, but Lehigh, obviously Category 1, how's he kind of faring up?
He was in there. I've only spoken to him briefly, but he's obviously okay. But it's Category 1, so he'll be out next week, and certainly missed him, losing him really early in the game. Caused a bit of a reshuffle to our team, and Tolo first half was very good at fullback, and we had Benny in the centres, but then losing Tommy in the second half to HIA, he came back thankfully, but there was a bit of chaos there. We had a couple of back rows playing centres, and I thought the Knights, they were really good tactically during that period there. They sort of took advantage of that, so they did a good job during that period.
And with both now Tommy and Lehigh out and Origin kind of on the horizon again, how do you kind of foresee this next preparation period in terms of the changes that you will have to make?
Yeah, well, all going well. We'll get Turbo back next week, and Jason Saab is available again. So we've got some players back available. I think we need to have a couple of days off. I've got to say, it's our 5th game in 25 days, so it's been pretty full on schedule. So as disappointing as that is, we need to take a breath and come back in full of energy on Monday. We play the Titans away on the Gold Coast next Friday night, so. They're always spirited encounters, so we need to take a breath and dive into next week and see who's available.
And Daly, apologies to put it starkly, but do you think that performance from yourself was enough to get you back into the Queensland squad?
I don't know. Find out Monday or Sunday.
Does anyone give you any indication where you sit with that at the moment, Daly?
You always find out on Sunday or Monday.
Does today's speculation on the back pages of a couple of papers bother you, concern you, or have you been around long enough to roll with whatever's put out there?
I genuinely don't know what has been said. I understand it's a pretty sort of busy period when it comes to my name, but doing my best to keep my head down. Train and play with the Manly boys and be a good dad.
Anthony, did you expect to fight back? I mean, Newcastle were booed off at half-time.
Yeah, I didn't know they were booed off. I did. I was interviewed at half-time on Channel 9, and I said, Newcastle are a spirited team. They made 4 of the last 5 finals campaigns, so they've been a consistent team. It's hard to make finals year upon year, and they've shown that. So there's a ton of class there and fight. We really suffocated them in that first half, but they got some field position, and they didn't give us any. They didn't give us much field position. I'm not sure how many errors they made in the second half, but they were pretty clean with their execution. So they're always going to fight back. I was thinking that if we could show the effort we showed in the first half, keep competing, then we'd be able to close the game out. But unfortunately, we weren't able to.
Do you think Tommy's try was enough to kill off their fight back, that you could hang on from there?
Look, it definitely could have been enough, but again, just as a general summary, we weren't consistent in that second half. So whether it was from errors, our defence, we allowed a lot of points in that half through our defence. So we missed a lot of tackles. We allowed offloads. We had a few errors off our kicking game in particular. There was just a lot of things that went wrong. And then, as Siebes mentioned, I think they might have made 1 error, maybe 2 errors in that second half. They were just super consistent and continued to put the pressure on us. So, in the end, our defence didn't hold up. But that first half, there's a lot to like, and that's obviously got to be the part that we look at for next week. But we're obviously still chasing, as cliche as it is, that 80-minute performance, and that's what we needed tonight.
Speaking of consistency, Manly gone win-loss since round 7. Do you put that down to personnel, or what do you put it down to?
I don't think you can ever put that down to just one thing. Scheduling, personnel, the way we're playing. There's so many different parts to a game of footy, let alone 2 months of footy. But inconsistency, it's definitely something that we've identified. We do want to put back-to-back games together. It seems that when we are playing well, it's really good, and unfortunately when it's bad, it's in this competition you only have to be that sort of 5-10% off and teams are going to beat you. So it's a really close competition. There's no easy games, no easy weeks. So consistency is probably what everyone's trying to look for, and we're no different to a lot of clubs trying to find consistency. So we'll go back to the drawing board and yeah, it's a really important game for us next week in the context of the season.